Hello everyone, this is Sharon Mistretta, and this is a tutorial regarding Make Beliefs Comics, and it is a website that I have used frequently with my students in technology class, and also when I collaborate with teachers in other subject areas such as world languages, language arts of course, science. It really lends itself to anything. So also what I wanted to point out was that you can do comics in Spanish. If you see the button to the right, provides you with the opportunity to use this either in a Spanish class or for students that are English language learners. They can perhaps put two different bubbles in your comic so that one is Spanish and one is English. So here I'm going to click on Create Your Comics. And what you're going to see is the beginning panels of a comic strip. You can increase the panels if you wish, or you can decrease the panels. What I like to do is stick with 3 to no more than 4 panels because I want my students to concentrate on the content rather than just decorating. Plus, this is something that they can accomplish within a class period, and if not, there is a way to store the comic on the Make Beliefs Comics server so that it can be retrieved later. That just requires that they register a username and password. They don't even have to register their email, just a username and password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about how to do this Make Beliefs comic. So if you notice, the red is around the panel that is current. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to the first panel, and the red surrounds the panel that is currently being worked on. I want you to take a look at the characters at the bottom. You can click the characters that you're going to place into your comic. There are many to choose from. There's also talk balloons, and I'll go into this in just a few moments. There's objects that you can place in the scene as well. There's traditional comics words such as pow and poof and pop, etc. And then there are backgrounds to choose from. If you do not want a background, you can certainly just use a background color. Otherwise, you can use some of the pre-drawn backgrounds. So I'm going to choose a background. I'm going to choose a school. I want to call your attention to the small toolbar underneath the panel. And right now, move is selected, so I can move this background to wherever I want it. There's also other tools that you can use that I'll demonstrate shortly, but whatever is selected is what is going to continue to do in the panels. That's something you have to remember. So I'm going to choose a character, and I am going to choose the little girl bunny. And the little girl bunny has a couple of poses. I'm just going to have her talk to us like that. I still have some moves selected, so I'm going to move her over. I want to move her over to the left a little bit. I'm going to select a balloon for her. And I'm going to select a mid-sized talk balloon. There's also think balloons. So I'm going to check a talk balloon. And then I am going to click inside of here, and I am going to place her little sentence. Do you know that Ada Lovelace wrote the first computer program? Okay, and then I have this selected, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. I want it a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to select my move tool again, and I'm just going to push it over here. All right, and I might also just add a space there so that that is a little bit farther down, and then I'm just going to move it a little bit. Okay, and what I'm also going to do is I'm going to select the little bunny, and I'm going to bring her to the front. So in other words, what happens is that she is in front of the talk bubble. So you have to consider all of these objects in your pane as just that, individual objects that can be manipulated. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the objects. There's something that I want to put in the scene with her, and this happens to not to be a character. It happens to be an object, and this is this cute little robot. So I still have move selected. I'm going to move her over. And also what I'm going to do is I am going to place a laptop instead of, I'm going to cover that coffee cup that she has. And I've selected this. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. I'm going to scale it so it's a little bit smaller. I'm going to select move again, and I'm just going to push it like that. So that is the first pane. So now I'm going to come over to the second pane, and I'm going to go back to the backgrounds. I'm going to still select the school. Now that my move is selected, I can move that around a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my characters, and I want to select this little girl with an iPad and select her pose there. What I'm going to do is I have her selected. I'm going to scale her back a little bit smaller, so she's going to look like she's standing in the doorway. I'm going to move her back a little bit. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a talk bubble, so a talk balloon, and that is a speech balloon. And here I'm going to just check a little bit of a smaller one, and this says computational thinking emerged within scientific fields rather than imported from computer science. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of this, and I am going to just copy it because I believe what I need, I have this all selected. I'm just going to delete it. I just selected the object and I deleted it. What I do need is a bit of a larger bubble. I'm just going to do a Command V. So there I have it. I am going to place a little space so that it centers it a little more. Now here is the trick. You cannot modify the font or size in this, but what you do is you start out with a larger bubble if you have a larger sentence, and then you select this and you scale it back such that it is smaller and it retains the words. So if you have a large sentence, choose a large bubble, write what you want, and then shrink it. Okay, so I'm also going to put this here. I'm going to select the young lady, and I'm just going to bring her to the front. And I also am going to move her over because her little ponytail is there. Okay, so now I have her sentence, and then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to choose a couple of other objects for my story. And the objects that I'm going to have, I'm going to look for a little bolt. And I'm going to move this down. I'm going to do another bolt. You'll see why in a moment. And I selected the background instead. Let me grab him. There you go. And I'm going to scale him back a little bit. Smaller. Select. Smaller. Oops, selected the background again. Make that a little bit smaller. You'll see in a few moments. Now I'm going to select the third panel. And the third panel, I'm going to again select the background. I'm going to keep it as the school. Going to move it a little bit up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over objects again, and I am going to look for my happy little robot. Here it is. Okay, so and I have one robot here. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put another robot in, and I wanted to demonstrate the flip tool for you because I have this one selected, and I am going to just flip it so that they turn around. Oop, I still had the flip tool selected. That's why I flipped it twice. Okay, so these two little robots are having a nice cup of coffee together. And then I have the final sentence, which is in a balloon. I'm going to do a think bubble, and I'm going to do the largest think bubble that I have. Okay, so there we go. For a moment, I'm just going to key in many modern advances in artificial intelligence and data analytics have been achieved by circuits. Did I just drop some in the hallway? Right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to select this and I'm going to scale it back a little bit. I'm going to select the move tool and move it just a little bit back so that he's or she is thinking this. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to place my name of my comic. I'm going to call that Robot Humor. Okay, and then I'm going to hit, now you can print, email, or save. So what I'm going to do, it has my little comic here. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to save the image to disk, and all that it does is it just downloads it to your download folder. So that is very handy for class. You just have to have your students find it and rename it instead of makebeliefs.png. Now I can also save the image to disk, and this is something that, save online. This is something that is brand new, and if you have an account with this Make Believe's Comix, then it allows you to save them online. And then what you would need to do is just to create your comic, and you can retrieve. Okay, so here's my Robot Humor if I wanted to work on it again. Okay, so happy comic writing, and thanks for your time. Bye.